Folks, we have over 100, maybe 150, 200 activists here at Circle 4 Farms, the very barn where we rescued Lily. James Cromwell, the actor, the lead actor in the movie Babe. We have a number of residents of Utah, and most significantly, we have Amy Mahler up here, whose brother actually works at Circle 4. And we're here to make a very simple ask. Yesterday, we saved 100 turkeys because a slaughterhouse owner had mercy, had compassion this holiday season, and spared those 100 lives in an act of compassion. We're gonna ask Circle 4 and the police to work with us to spare even one life, one piglet's life. And we know that 250,000 piglets at this farm are thrown into garbage cans, are trapped in the manure piles and just flushed out into these manure pits. You'll see liquefying corpses of baby pigs in these manure lagoons right across from this fence. These animals are treated like garbage by the industry, and we just want to take one of these 250,000 animals who's going to die here every single year, one of these poor babies who's torn from their mothers at just 14 to 21 days, and give them the life they deserve. And again, we have a Hollywood actor here with us to help us negotiate. We have residents of Utah, including a woman, Amy, whose brother actually works at this farm and can speak very eloquently and very intelligently, very directly about why this is bad, even for the citizens of Utah, even for the families who are caught up in this industry. So I don't know if Jamie, you have anything to say, or Amy, you have anything to say? I kind of put you on the spot and thrust you here. You don't have to say anything you don't want to right now. But Jamie, do you have anything to say before we go over to the police and see? No? Amy, do you have anything to say? Okay, so let's just go and do this together. We're just gonna walk up.
Hey everyone, if you're just tuning in here, I just want to give you the experience of what it's like to be here at the largest pig producing company in the world. And this is Circle 4 Farms. It's owned by Smithfield. And folks, it smells like there's about 4,000 porta potties here. I'm not joking. The smell is so awful that you feel like you can taste it. And there's feces everywhere because there's hundreds of manure lagoons off to the distance. And we're again in front of the barn where Lily's mother is probably still lying in a gestation crate, unable to move. And you know, it's just very, very sad and disheartening to be here because we can literally hear the cries of these animals if we...
Why don't you show people the police, how many police are lined up here? We have many officers here over on the side, blocking off one of the dumpsters. In those dumpsters, you often find hundreds of dead piglets, sometimes dead mother pigs. And we're gonna see if there's anyone at Circle 4 or anyone in the government of Utah who's willing to have a conversation with us. Is that Cameron? Cameron, are you over there? Hey, Cameron.
Who's that, Wayne?
It's a representative from the Sheriff Department of Beaver County, and we'll just walk over here and see if there's any representatives from Circle 4.
Wait, hold on. Can you help me take this off the window?
Hey, ma'am. Ma'am? You happen to work with Circle 4?
No, I didn't.
You work at the Sheriff Department? Great, thank you very much. Do you know if there's a representative from Circle 4 here today we could talk to?
I will ask my captain.
Okay, great, thank you. Let's walk back over here and maybe we can even talk to Cameron. I'm not going to put Cameron on the spot because one of the sheriff's deputies has been, you know, very kind of reasonable and discussing about James, if you could come with me.
Can you want to wait? So I can...
Oh, wait for James. Yeah,
Turn it off
please.
first so I can see.
We have a representative from Circle 4 over here recording our interactions. He doesn't want to talk. He doesn't want to talk. Well, thank you very much, sir. We appreciate you being here today. And I know you're doing your job. You know, we're here out of a good faith concern about the dangers to the public at these factory farms, the dangers to our environment. We know people as far as 10 miles away can't even step outside of their homes because of how sickening these manure lagoons are for the local population. We know there are diseases in these farms, and we originally came to Circle 4 Farms about 2.5 years ago because we had evidence that they were using carcinogenic antibiotics in these piglets. The piglets are so sick, so many of them were dying, hundreds of thousands every year that they were using carcinogenic antibiotics the FDA is actually trying to ban because these are dangerous drugs at all levels. Even trace amounts can cause your kids to get cancer. We also know from scientific research that's been done over the past 5 years that pig farms are the world's greatest source of MRSA, methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus, which kills 30,000 primarily kids every year. We know also that there are pigs trapped in gestation crates, and under Utah law, torturing an animal is a crime. So what we've done is we've asked the Attorney General this morning, James and Amy and others, went to the Attorney General, went to the Governor of Utah and asked them to enforce the animal cruelty laws when it comes to factory farms in the state. So is it okay if I talk to you?
No, you're fine.
Okay. So Cameron, thank you very much. And I told everyone that you've been extremely polite to us, civil,
Thanks,
and you're
Ryan.
trying to balance competing forces here.
Sure.
The rights of the owners of this farm with the First Amendment rights of the activists, and we really appreciate that. But I'm wondering if on behalf of myself, on behalf of James, on behalf of Amy, who's actually a Utah resident whose brother works at Circle 4, correct?
Yes.
Do you want to say anything about that to the sheriff or to the representative of Circle 4 here?
When my brother started working here, he was very excited about it. I honestly thought that he had found a good place to work, a very good position. I had no idea what was going on behind the walls, and having seen it, I'm devastated. I had no idea that there was such darkness in that he could manage to deal with that on a day-to-day basis. And it's been very emotional to me, and I want this to be a good place. I want it to be a place that does not do harm to others, does not do harm to our families, and it's been very difficult for me to find out otherwise.
Yeah, and again, our request to the Utah government, I know, you can't do whatever you want either. You have to follow
Right.
the instructions of your bosses, the sheriff, the district attorney, the county attorney, and the attorney general. Our request is that we start an investigation of the factory farms in Utah, when even some of the leaders of the industry are saying that gestation crates are the cruelest form of torment mankind has ever invented. When Smithfield itself says it has phased out gestation crates, yet retained photographs and video footage from the barns right behind us. There are gestation crates right there. When Smithfield promised the public in 2007 they would phase them out in 10 years. That promise has now passed. Gestation crates remain in place. Our request to the government and the request we gave to the Attorney General earlier today was, can we start an investigation and inquiry into the animal cruelty, the public safety risks at these factory farms? And I don't know if there's anything you could do to assist us. And I don't want to put you on the spot.
Wayne, so you know, I spoke with the Attorney General's office probably an hour ago.
Great.
I'm fully aware of that, and I will work with them, and we'll see what happens with it. I'm here today to keep the peace and live by those things. I think we're going in the right direction, and we'll do whatever we can do to assist. But I'm going to work with them and with our Department of Agriculture, and we'll go from there.
Okay, great. And do you know if there is an animal cruelty report or a public safety risk in Beaver County, would you be the appropriate party for us to report this to?
More than likely, it'll be
Yes.
the AG's office.
AG's
okay?
office. Okay. And we have done that. We brought a letter to the AG's office. There were photographs and links in that letter. We sent email correspondence to them, and I think to Beaver County as well,
Okay.
with some of these documents.
They
Sorry, go
have
ahead.
agents that are here also, so.
Okay, great. Fantastic. And James, James is an actor, but he's also an activist. He marched for civil rights in the 1960s. He was in Mississippi during the Freedom Summer. He's marched to stop the Vietnam War, whatever your positions are on that. James is an experienced activist with decades of wisdom. And I think James's perspective also is a perspective that many Americans in Utah and the entire nation share. That there are large corporations and special interests that are corrupting our political system and corrupting our nation and frankly destroying our planet. And I don't know if James, you want to share anything with the sheriff or the folks who are watching.
Well, I'd like to share something with the representative of Smithfield. I was in a movie called Babe, which was about a pig that could talk to other animals. It was nominated for 7 Academy Awards. I think it won 3 of them. And in that movie, I take a little pig and I win it at an auction, and that's the pig that grows into Babe. So in this holiday season of Thanksgiving, think it would be an incredible gesture for your company to allow us to take one of those baby pigs, which will probably die in some horrible way in a gestation crate, to take it out as a gift to us, as to show good faith that you hear our complaints, that you care about these animals, and you would get an incredible amount of publicity. I assure you, if I was able to carry one of those piglets away today, the actor in Babe, from Smithfield Farms, a gesture of thanks and appreciation for you and for all of us here and what we want. I hope you'll do that.
I can speak on his behalf. He's an employee here. I spoke with his boss, the CEO, and unfortunately, they're not going to do that. And they don't want to do that. And maybe they will the next go around, but they don't want to do it today.
Would it be possible for us to at least inspect the dumpsters and see if there are any baby pigs who are still alive in the dumpsters?
They
Would that
would
be possible?
prefer you not to.
Okay, so we can't do that, sir?
It's their property, right?
Yeah, and I know
We're actually kind of even going beyond what we wanted to do, but I'm trying to be even with you.
Of course, no, I
Okay.
really appreciate it, Cameron.
Wayne, do you want to mention what happened yesterday? And
Yeah, so one of the reasons we're asking Smithfield today is because yesterday a slaughterhouse owner took a very different approach. Understanding the public does have legitimate concerns, in that case about hepatitis and drugs in the turkey that we're eating, which is being fed to our kids. And kids have died from eating adulterated turkey. They've died from eating adulterated meat. They've died from eating pork that has poisons in it, drugs and diseases that are endangering the infirm, our parents, my grandparents, and young children who don't have the strong immune systems that you and I have. And in an act of good faith, that owner actually said, I understand, you guys have legitimate concerns. The footage you're showing us is disturbing. The public doesn't have a stomach for this cruelty and for these diseases. So we're gonna try and do better, and we're gonna release, in a gesture of good faith, 100 animals to you this Thanksgiving season, which was very powerful, and I think brought tears to the eyes of so many people here,
Yeah.
and frankly, Americans across this nation and people across this world. And so again, we beg and entreat Smithfield to do the same. It's a very big company, I know, but even big companies have people who can make decisions of conscience. Even big companies, I've worked for big companies myself, I've been a lawyer for big companies. Even big companies have people who care about other human beings, who care about animals. It's not all about the money. And we know in this case, even if it were about the money, the piglets who are sick are not going to make them any money anyways. So I don't know if we could pass that message along to your boss or the boss, but it sounds like you talked to the CEO of the entire company.
I did.
Is this Larry Pope?
No, Whitewater.
Okay.
Here in Milton.
Oh, Milford. Okay, so they're probably the CEO of Circle 4,
Right.
Not Smithfield.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, so Smithfield is the conglomerate, the multinational corporation that owns Circle 4. Circle 4 is a separate subsidiary of Smithfield. And then Smithfield itself is owned by WH Group, which is one of the largest corporations in the world, and it's owned and financed by the Chinese government. And another one of the reasons we're here today is even I, as a Chinese person myself, have real concerns about the Chinese government controlling our food system and doing things to our food that is dangerous to our citizens. Because the Chinese government has a terrible record of human rights abuses, animal rights abuses, environmental abuses, and public health scares. And there have been multiple instances of adulterated foods being let out into the food system in China that have killed tens of thousands of kids in China in recent years. And it's all because the Chinese government is in bed with the corporations that are feeding the Chinese people. There's no accountability and transparency. So, anyways, if there's anyone at Smithfield who'd be willing to talk to us, if not Circle 4, if there's someone at Smithfield we can talk to, we've been trying for more or less the past 4 years since we did our first investigation of Smithfield Foods to just get a conversation with them, to start some sort of inquiry and dialogue about the horrible things. And folks, this is not something we can wait on, because when there are animals who are urgently dying right now, when there are kids whose skin is wasting away from MRSA right now, when there are kids who are ingesting food that's laced with carcinogens, with a toxin called carbidox, which has been banned across the entire world except in the United States, this is a public health emergency that needs to be addressed immediately. And we're asking Smithfield to help us with this emergency. We know the people at Smithfield aren't necessarily bad people. Some of them probably are. Some of them probably don't care at all and are just in it for the money. But I'm guessing the vast majority of people, including this gentleman, are good people who care about their families, who care about their dogs, who don't want to see their kids get sick, and we're asking them to work with us to build a better, more peaceful, a safer world for all of us.
I will pass it on to
Okay.
them. Okay?
Is there anyone else you think we should talk to, Cameron? I really appreciate you talking to us. by the
They're
way.
not going to.
They're not
They're
gonna
not
talk.
going to do it.
They're not gonna talk.
Believe me. You know I would if I could, but they're
No, I
not going
understand.
to. Maybe in the future,
Okay.
and I'll pass that on to them. And
Okay.
I'm sure all this is on video, which I can see.
Yeah.
And I'll pass it on to them.
Okay.
They're not going to do
Do
it
it today. Okay, I understand.
Okay.
James, do you have anything else you want to say, or Amy?
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Cameron. Again, I know you're balancing competing interests here as well, and you've been incredibly polite and civil to us throughout and
you.
setting out our expectations, so we appreciate it.
Thanks.
Okay?
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so folks, we'll probably just kind of take a moment to
Hey everyone, if you're just tuning
outside
in,
of the
we
farm.
are in front of Circle
I'll
4
just say a
Farms, which
few
is the
brief
largest
words
Smithfield
about
owned farm,
what
pig
happened
farm,
here and what
and this
continues
is
to
the
happen
largest
here,
pig
and
farm
we'll move on
in
to
the
the
world.
next
But Wayne's,
stage of the action.
Wayne's letting us, Wayne, are you going to just share with us where we are and what just happened?
We're outside of Circle 4 Farms, and we're actually, you can see over these folks' heads, the gestation crate facilities where thousands of pigs still remain trapped in these metal tombs. And actually, why don't I say this at the megaphone so more people can hear? Should we just stay here? Is it okay if we stay here for a moment, Cameron, or should we? Bria just asked me where we are, and I said that we are outside of Circle 4 Farms, the largest pig farm in the nation, perhaps the largest pig farm in the world. And in particular, we're outside and right behind the shed where Lily's mother was trapped in a gestation crate. And for those of you who don't know what gestation and farrowing crates are, they are metal tombs that these poor mother pigs are forced to live in their entire lives. Metal bars where they're encased 2 feet by 6.5 feet in an area that's less than 15 square feet for an animal that's 600 or 700 pounds of size. So when we found Lily's mom, she was collapsed on the ground and defeated. She was having trouble nursing her babies, and this happens to sometimes 10, 15, 20% of the mother pigs. They get diseases, their bodies break down from constantly being forcibly impregnated, nursing piglet after piglet, never getting any respite, and living their entire life in a metal tomb. Even the stress caused them to go insane, and many of you will hear the mother pigs crying right behind us, clanging their heads against the cage doors in an effort to free themselves. But they will not be freed, because there are tens of thousands of these mother pigs trapped in these cage doors. And as the legal and political system is currently constituted, these mother pigs are not treated like living creatures. They're treated like machines, and not even particularly valuable machines, because in every one of these farrowing and gestation crate facilities, there's a pen filled with what's called gilts. And the gilts are the replacement female pigs, where a mother pig breaks down, collapses on the ground, can no longer walk, is too sick, or is too injured, or is too starved from being unable to reach food and water, that she can no longer give birth to 12, 13 piglets every 6 months. They will drag her out here, throw her head first into one of the dumpsters sitting right outside, and replace her with another female pig. She's a machine who, when she breaks down, she will be replaced like a broken part. But we're here today because we know even the folks at Smithfield, when they look into the eyes of one of these mothers, when they hear her screams of agony, when her babies are torn from her, when they see the animals covered with sores and infections, when they think about the diseases ravaging our communities, even the people at Smithfield, when they look into those eyes and see those disgusting things, must see that the future must hold something better, more peaceful, and more compassionate than what is happening behind those closed doors. And so we're asking you, sir, and I know you're recording this. I know you need to bring this back to your bosses and masters at Smithfield and your bosses and masters in Hong Kong, China. We're asking you in an act of conscience as an individual, please, if you can't help us today, at a minimum, can you bring our message back to your bosses and say, sirs, ma'ams, folks at Smithfield, these are heartfelt, good, genuine, authentic people who have a concern that we need to listen to. Yes, we may have all the power here. We may have all the money. We may be a multi-billion-dollar corporation facing off with grassroots activists who have no money and no power whatsoever. But their children matter. Their lives matter. Their consciences matter. And we need to take action. We need to change because change is nature. And the future of the world, the future of the change the world is seeing is compassion.
Yes.
So this employee is not able to, perhaps because he's been instructed by his bosses, to say even a single word to us today. He's video recording us, which is fine. We believe that the light brings goodness to the world. And we never hide anything that we do at DXC or as animal rights activists. And I'll conclude by saying, Smithfield, stop hiding things. You want to record us. You want to know what we're about. We and the public want to know what you're about too. So let's open these barn doors up. Let's stop passing ag-gag laws, suing people, prosecuting people for taking photographs inside your farms. Open those barn doors up, and if you're proud of the work you do, if you believe in the work you do, then let's shine some sunlight on it so everyone on the world can see what's happening behind these doors. So we have a couple kids, Kingston and Evan, who I think want to say something. Do you want to say something? Do you want to just walk up and say something to the police? Okay. Is that okay if he comes and says something to you guys? Sure. Evan?
Will you please let us just save one life, because I mean, they just want to live just one life. I mean, please, they just want to live. They're the same as you, and all, like, everybody's pets. And I mean, when you say that you want to protect people, I understand, but when you are letting them kill them and you're saying that that's okay because it's like people eat it, but that isn't okay because those are lives that just want to live, so please.
Thank you, Evan. Evan, so the officers actually don't have control. So they're here adjudicating two competing parties' interests, and we appreciate your presence here. That individual over there, which he may not want to talk to you, are you willing to talk to a little boy? No? Okay, that's fine. But you can say something to him if you'd like, but he's the individual who works for the company who owns these barns behind us, and that's the company that's confining the pigs. So you might want to say something to him too.
And you can talk about where we've been.
So please just give us one life, because I mean, I have been to the world's largest pig slaughterhouse in North Carolina, Smithfield, and I have been there and I have seen them. It's not okay. So please give us one life to save. I mean, please. They just want to live. They have families just like you and all of us here.
Thank you, Evan. You want to say something, Kingston?
Just wanted to say I would love if you guys could just spare one piglet to us, because every animal wants to be free in the world. They don't want to have gestation crates or anything on them. So I want every pig, and if it could happen, every pig in this slaughterhouse to be free.
So I just want you to let us save one life, because they all have families and they want to live in this world, and they have souls that are good, and they just want to live. They like to be free, not free with
Okay. I don't know if there's a whole lot else to say. Amy or Jamie, do you want to say anything before we go? No?
Hey folks, we're here at Circle 4 Farms, which is one of the largest. It's owned by Smithfield, which is the largest pork producing facility in the world. And I'm in tears because we just had 3 children plead and beg one of the officials at Smithfield at Circle 4 and ask them to release just one piglet as an act of compassion. Just give one life during the holiday season, and they're not saying anything.
Nico, 3 of the kids, and I know there's some other kids here, they just begged and asked the company if we could spare at least even one of these pigs, one of the sick ones, who doesn't have any economic value, who's going to end up in one of the dumpsters behind us. And unfortunately, you know, the company representative, I think right now, is not responding and is just recording us, which is his right. And he has a First Amendment right just as we do, so we should respect that. But my guess is he's been instructed by his bosses that he's not to engage with us at all, and he's not doing that. And the officers here obviously don't have the authority to do anything, at least at this point. But what we're trying to do is push the boundaries of the law. And if these were dogs and puppies who were being thrown into dumpsters while still alive, these are mother dogs crammed in cages so small they couldn't turn around, then we'd have the grounds for bringing an immediate animal cruelty investigation, saying that we have probable cause for violations of Section 301, the Animal Cruelty Code of Utah, and therefore we should be going in with the officers to take all these baby pigs and all the mothers out. And that is our vision, folks. The reason we have to fight in court, the reason we have to fight in the streets is because we do need to change the laws, reinterpret the laws, reframe the laws, so that when we say animal cruelty, we mean all animals. So when we say that freedom is the right of all sentient beings, we mean not just dogs and cats and human beings, but also pigs and factory farms. And we will get there one day. As Cameron said, it might not happen today. We might not get a piglet out today. But even making these demands of the system is crucial. Because it's as Frederick Douglass said 150 years ago, change never happens without a demand. You've got to make the demand of a powerful system. And if you make it enough times, over and over and over again, even the most powerful, wealthy corporations in the world will start to listen. Am I right?
Yes.
All right. Okay. So we can probably disperse now and get back into our cars, unless Louis or Amira, do you have an announcement you need to make before we go?
Just to make sure we don't leave until the front cars start moving. We're not just leaving now.
So maybe if folks want, since Smithfield is recording everything we're saying today, if you'd like, non-violently, compassionately, by all means, come and leave a message for Smithfield, because I'm sure their CEO, their general counsel, frankly, even WH Group, I guarantee you, knowing the way Chinese government-owned companies operate, they're going to listen to every single word we say, and they may not like it, but they will hear it. So if you'd like to say a brief word before you leave, they are recording us, so leave a message for Smithfield before we leave today.
Why don't we have a few people come up and do what Evan did?
Yeah.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening to your heart, and you specifically behind the camera. We can help you get a better job.
Okay, so we're going to try and move quickly because we can't do this too long. We do need to move on. But if you could just say, you could pass by and say hello, even raise a peace sign, raise your flower, show Smithfield and show the officers here that we are nonviolent people.
Back here. I honestly grew up in the farming community. I know what it's like to be part of the system. I know what it's like to think that all of this is okay and necessary, and I've looked into it, I've learned, I've found that there are other ways, and we don't need to harm these innocent beings that are just as intelligent as our 3-year-old children. And I hope that you guys will show some compassion for us and the animals as well.
So just a point of clarity, we're getting back into our cars and going in a caravan to the next
We're
stop.
currently in the 6th
We're
great
not
mass
leaving
extinction
entirely
of
and going
species
back
on
to
Earth.
Salt
We're
Lake
losing
City.
up to 200
I'm
species
going to ask
every
people to
single
start
day.
getting
We're
in their
down
cars. So
83%
if you want
of
to just pass by and
wildlife,
leave a
and we're on
peace sign
track to
because
reach
we do
nothing
need to
by
get going.
2026.
If you want to
That's
leave a
8
message for
years from
Smithfield,
now.
you can just put a peace sign up
Please
or raise your
stop
flower.
doing
But
this
let's
to
get
these
back into our
innocent
cars. We don't want to
animals.
leave anyone
Pigs are
behind,
smarter
right?
than dogs.
So
They're
just
smarter
pass
than
by
3
very
or 4 year
quickly.
old children. But if they were the least intelligent animal on the planet, it doesn't matter. They feel pain, they feel joy, not here, but they have the capacity to. They have feelings, friends, and families just like us, and they want to live just like us. Please be compassionate, please be kind. I'm on the board of a new organization called Trans Farm, and I know you're a big corporation, but we'd love to help you, and so would Rowdy Girls Rap program, the Rancher Advocacy Program.
Folks, we should probably just keep moving. So if you want to you can leave a peace sign and just pass by, but we do need to keep moving.
Just
leave a peace sign and keep going, okay? Thanks, everybody.
Thank you for listening.
I just want to say something to whoever's watching. I don't know who it is, so I don't know if you've been inside of these farms, but my name's Cassie. I've been inside your farms in North Carolina, and I have nightmares about the individuals whose eyes I looked into and who are probably dead now. But I hope they're dead now, because if they're still alive, If Lily's mom is still alive right behind us, then her life is worse than being dead, because she's inside of a crate the size of her body, and she can't turn around, and she has her babies taken from her. And we just want to help one of those babies. So when we come back, after you've seen all this, after you watch these videos, the next time we're here, I hope you'll give us that baby. I hope you'll give us 100 babies. I hope you'll help us create a sustainable and a love-based business here and a place of sanctuary for the animals inside. And I have love for you too.
Folks, we do have to leave, but we have one other person who wants to say something. Just real quick. You want to say your name to everybody? You can share, what's going on with your life right now.
I am just here to request, I'm Bree by the way, I have had 9 years of pretty significant medical issues that all started after I got MRSA, and then I got an E. coli infection, and it just kind of kept mounting on top of each other. I've spent more hours than I will ever be able to remember in hospitals, in hospital beds, sharing rooms with kids, sharing beds with elderly people, everyone that is impacted by lack of transparency in the industry, everyone that gets sick, everyone that is affected by it. This is who it is. This is what it looks like. And at some point we have to have transparency. We can't keep living like this because it's killing people, it's killing children, and it makes it bad enough. The ethical part of it's bad enough, but the lack of transparency to consumers, something has to change.
Can I tell them what's going on with you? So it's killing her too.
Yeah.
She needs 2 lung transplants. Her lungs are no longer functioning because of the infections that have ravaged her body. So she could die if she doesn't get a lung transplant in the next few months.
And like
Which is why she needs this.
I'm sure that you guys don't know what it's like to not be able to breathe, but those pigs know what it's like to not be able to breathe, and I know what it feels like to not be able to breathe. And I know that you stood somewhere away from this location, but maybe spend 24 hours in there and figure out what it feels like, because you'll never ever want anything that's living, feeling, thinking to go through that ever.
And yeah, maybe one of the employees at Smithfield or even the CO could come and meet Bree and just see what she's gone through and understand why people are so concerned about this, because many of us have family members who've gone through similar things, and we just don't want anyone to die anymore. It's time to stop the death and start living and saving and protecting life,
Thanks, Bree.
That's right.
Hey folks, if you're just tuning in, we're at Smithfield, Circle 4 Farms, and we just begged some of the officials, that the person who was recording, if they could release just one life to us, and we had some compelling pleas by children, by Bree, who's a woman who is infected by MRSA, and she's dying. The doctor only gave her a few months or years to live, and it's really sad that we can continue to torture animals, continue to torture the planet and humans, and still have these corporations not take action. So it's just gut-wrenching to be here. We're in front of the barns where Lily's mom probably still is inside. Hundreds of animals.
Maybe I can explain to folks why these diseases kill so many people, and it's because the antibiotics they use in these facilities, they keep giving the animals more and more drugs, and you keep giving animals antibiotics when they're getting sick over and over, and what happens is the diseases get more and more powerful. The bacteria becomes resistant to the drugs we're using, and then people like our friend over here who suffered from MRSA,
let's go talk to her.
they can't. Yeah. Why don't you go talk to her?
Hey,
We should get going.
Liz. People are really touched by your story, and you just had a really, really powerful plea. And you've been infected by MRSA.
Twice now, actually.
And it's infected your body, I'm sure your emotional life, and you're begging these police officers to give us one life, because even though what's happening to these pigs is hurting you, you're still out here fighting for these animals. Can you tell us about what you're going through? And I know the doctors have, and I know I don't know what's going on with you, but I know Chase has told me the doctors have given you, hey, like, you might not be alive for too long, and that's really scary and that's really sad.
Yeah, so, I mean, it is a progressive thing that it will just keep going, and it eventually just scars your entire lungs on both sides, and it starts on one and goes to the other, so I'm on a transplant list, and until then, I'm just out here trying to do this because, I mean, the industry is exactly why people, get sick and they go through all of this, and I don't know, it's just...
Thank you.
Just a lot soon.
Folks, I'm here with this incredible woman who's infected with MRSA and has every reason to stay at home, especially during Thanksgiving, but she's out here today fighting for these pigs who are also infected with diseases, so forgive me if I'm really, really emotional, but it's an emotional time. There's pigs, mother pigs inside of here who are giving birth to babies. Who are giving birth to babies in their own feces, in their own urine, in their own waste. They'll never get to turn around. They'll never get to see their babies, and I want to vomit. It's just so sad and so awful. And yet these places don't want us knowing what's going on. They're placing no trespassing signs everywhere because they want to hide this from the public. And how much longer can we continue this? It's not okay. And if you can, please share this live stream. We want the world to see what's going on. We want the world to know what's going on inside of these places. Wayne, do you have anything to say?
It's just heartbreaking, It's these corporations. The corporations themselves are soulless, but they're comprised of people. You could see this employee. He looked like he was on the verge of tears. He was recording us, and he was moved by the entire experience too.
When you see children and Bree, this woman who's been infected with MRSA, plea these officials of Smithfield. They're humans and they know what it's like to get hurt, and non-humans are experiencing that pain, and that's what we're trying to show them, that it's not just humans who are experiencing this pain, but it's also...
Pigs suffer from that every day. Because the reason human beings are getting sick with it is because all the pigs are covered with these horrible infections. They're struggling to breathe from pneumonia. Pneumonia is one of the most common causes of death in a pig factory farm. They, are afflicted with greasy pig disease, a form of staph that sometimes afflicts 60-70% of the piglets, and they have to be given these drugs constantly. I mean, it's when you go into a factory farm, it's more like a hospital or a pharmaceutical company than it is an actual farm. Most people, when they think about a farm, they don't think this. And Smithfield prides itself on responsible, sustainable, ethical production. And what they don't show people is these massive norleaves. I wish I could show people on live stream the smell, because the smell here, this is going to actually stay on our face. It'll stay on our gloves and our clothes all day today, and even tomorrow. It'll be on our megaphones, and it's a smell of death. That's what we have here. It's a smell of death, the death of human beings and the death of animals.
Cassie, you very powerfully asked that Smithfield official, and I could see him. I could see that he was touched. But do you want to just tell us about what's going on here, what people can do to help? Everyone wants to help.
Well, please share and show your support so that when we come back with even more people, maybe with you, that they'll listen to what the public wants. I know the public sees this cruelty. We were at the state capitol in Utah this morning, and I was holding a dead baby in my arms, a dead baby piglet who came from the industry because a whistleblower brought these piglets to us, so many of them, because they're routinely killed. And if they gave us a piglet today, they wouldn't be losing anything. They go around in these farms looking for the weak and the small piglets, and they smash them against the ground to kill them because it's quicker than letting them starve to death there, because it's quicker than letting them freeze to death and slowly die. They just go and take the runts and smash them to the ground and throw them in a dumpster. And I know there are babies right now who are waiting that fate. And the baby I held in my arm this morning had a huge dent in her head and her neck where she'd hit the ground when she was killed. And I don't understand why people can't give these babies to us when they know they're going to kill them. But I guess the reason is that is very threatening to the industry, very weakening to an industry to admit compassion. And so the more that we can get compassion on the table, make this demand, even when it isn't listened to. Eventually it will be. Yesterday it was listened to. Yesterday Norbus released 100 turkeys to us. They valued compassion. They shared the same value that we had. And the more that happens, I know other farms, other slaughterhouses, the entire industry is going to wake up to the compassion that really we all share. That person who's representing Smithfield felt that same compassion. You could tell. I could tell looking in his eyes, and so does every person who works here, I'm sure. This is a horrible job to have. I have nightmares from being in these farms the few times I have, and I know people who work here every day feel the weight of what they're doing. And I just have so much sadness more than anger. I first had anger, I'll admit it, and I wish I wasn't angry. But I was angry at first when they ignored us, when they just refused to talk to us. But now I just feel sad after looking in the eyes of that worker, the same way that I looked in the eyes of these pigs. We have the same eyes. I don't know if you've looked in the eyes of pigs before, but we have the same eyes. And you can connect with anybody when you look in their eyes. And I know that person connected with all of us. And I know that if we had the chance to talk with the CEO of Smithfield, who's probably going to watch this video, if we had the chance to just look into these people's eyes and connect with them, that we would realize we have more values in common than different. And that's why we need to keep coming back to these places, keep putting the issue on the table, and take action for the values that we all stand for.
All right, thank you so much to all of you who are joining on live stream. This has been really emotional. We're gonna be we're gonna ask you to tune back in when we do a vigil in a few hours. So please keep an eye out. And again, please share this live stream and you know, just make sure to tune back in. And thank you again for all your support. And we'll talk to you later.